On this episode, we speak about altering our reality. We all have an outlook on the world and our personal lives. The beauty in co creation is that we have the power to choose a life of abundance. We have the ability to reflect on the favorable. Tune in as we discuss how to shift our life experience to one of greatness. I think you should get a pen and a pad to take some notes. Get ready to see life renewed right here on LifeClub.
I'm Tashima Jones. Welcome to LifeClub. I genuinely believe personal development unlocks the door to the abundant and wonderful life we all already have. I also believe we must be intentional about seeking out that life in order to find and fulfill it. I am so grateful your journey of discovery has led you all the way here. Let's keep moving forward together. Once again, welcome to Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. Welcome. You are tuned in to Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. I am super duper excited to be here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were here with me. And for that, I am truly grateful. Today, we are speaking about alter realities. Yes, we are. A huge part. The essence of Life Club is really focused on personal development and us getting our everyday lives together. So often we get caught up in the big goals and aspirations that we neglect to recognize that the small goals and the everyday things that we face contribute to us getting where we desire to be. So, we are speaking about our realities today, with the exception of primary colors, species, natural elements like the sky, and everyday items such as the phone, fridge, and handbag. Reality is truly a perceived concept. Every single being has an image of what reality is, making it almost impossible for us to see life the same. Our place of birth, age, parents, culture, exposure, and influence all shape and mold how we think, the way in which we view life, and ultimately how our lives and sense of self is impacted. Today, we are speaking once again about alter reality. Seeing the wealthiest and the most impoverished on the same block always amazes me. In New York City alone, the blending of socioeconomic classes creates the opportunity for us to literally brush shoulders with the richest and the poorest within minutes. The same is true when encountering those who are living a joy-filled life of high frequency and others who wrestle with low vibes like depression. The main question of today's show is, what reality are you accepting? Let's dig in. So first, I wanted to talk about our consciousness. It's what we are aware of. It's the epicenter or the lens of which we view reality through. This idea of being awake, aka woke, is really based on internal truths. And true consciousness is obtained through revelation. It's the idea of eternal truths becoming real and revealed on the inside. I always describe a revelation as this moment when your mind finally understands and receives what your spirit already knows. It's like the light bulb goes on. It's like that aha moment that people tend to speak about. And without revelation, without understanding of things that are truthful, that have come before us thousands and thousands of years prior to our existence, when that becomes a reality within your heart, within your mind, and within your soul, you are then officially woke. Being woke and being awake is not knowing the daily news or what's going on social media. It is truly being conscious and awakened to the inner being that exists within. So we have to wake up. And I cannot tell everyone how to do that because, to be honest, I'm still discovering it within myself. But it usually comes at this point where one is ready. You know, I always say that wisdom will find you when you are ready to receive her. And we have to position ourselves not only physically, but spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable enough and to be transparent enough to receive the truth that really is hidden in plain sight. It's right in front of you. The moment that happened for me was when I did everything I thought I was supposed to do to achieve this quote unquote American dream. And I recognized that America's dream wasn't mine. And I went on to discover that dream, not only professionally, but also personally. Again, we have to wake up to what is on the inside of us. We have to wake up to the reality that is existing within. Because truth be told, everything that we see is a product of everything that we don't see. Once again, everything that we see is a product of what we don't see. And when we truly recognize that, we are then able to move forward and shift our physical realities. Because culture tells you that seeing is believing. But the truth is that believing is seeing. Believing gives birth to what you physically see. So we have to be aware of that. We have to be conscious of that. And oftentimes it takes a leap of faith just to believe that in order to see it happen in your life. So again, understanding your reality right now in this very moment, it starts with asking yourself, am I awake? Am I ready to receive the truth about who I am in this earth? Am I ready to receive the truth about what is mine on this earth? So being vulnerable enough. And sometimes, honestly, we get to this point where, Oprah says, listen at the pebble before it becomes a brick. Pebbles are being thrown at you every day about, no, you're going in the wrong direction. You're going in the wrong direction. You're going in the wrong direction. And the longer you wait to shift course, the larger the pebble gets. And when it becomes a brick, that's oftentimes when people wake up. It's as simple as that. And now I am living my life where I'm looking for the pebbles. I'm not even waiting for the bricks anymore to wake up, to be conscious of where I am and where I'm going. And especially just enjoying the present moment and not getting so caught up in the future that you miss the links to the future. Oftentimes we're trying to rush into the future and we're missing the train. Like the train is coming to pick us up and we just looking ahead that we're missing the train that's there to pick us up and take us there. So be awake, be conscious of your current reality. Be conscious. Listen to life. Life is always speaking to us. Life is always whispering in the ways in which we should go. And oftentimes we don't listen. Remember, take it at the pebble. Don't wait for the brick. Next, I wanted to speak about perception. So perception is the ability to see and hear something through your physical senses. Again, the physical senses. It's this process of our brain taking what we see and making, a guess at what we should do in that moment or what is to come. So our perception is shaped by our experiences. It's shaped by our past. It's shaped by our upbringing. It's shaped by the conversations that you partake in. It's shaped in the media that you consume. Is shaped by all of these things that touch our sensories, our five senses. And we, take all of this in and our brain tries to calculate, okay, this is what I should do in a situation such as this. Or 9 times out of 10, this is what's going to happen because the last time I went through this was the result. So perception is so important and it's so vital for you to understand the root of your perception, understand the philosophy of your life. You have to sit down and take a moment and breathe and really take apart your life, and don't be afraid of that process, because fear is what's going to keep you stagnant, and fear is going to keep you in this cycle, this repetitive behavior of doing the same thing over and over and over again and getting the same results. Now, once we come to terms with our perception and with the things that we've experienced, we are then equipped to allow ourselves to let light in, to acknowledge, okay, this is not the right way of handling this situation. And even though my mother and my grandmother and my great grandmother, this is the way that they did things, this is not necessarily how I have to do things. I repeat, just because it was normal doesn't make it okay. Just because it happened to somebody else doesn't mean that it has to be the same cycle for you. Check your perception. See what is dominating the way in which you view life. See what is dominating the way that you accept life. You have to understand that your perception is truly guiding you. And if it's not based and established in what is love and what is noble and what is pure and what is abundant, it could really lead you in the wrong direction. And don't get it twisted. You can be a successful failure. You can be a successful failure, meaning you can obtain a certain level of success, a certain status in the culture in which you are a part of, and still not really be living out your full life and your full potential. So you have to understand that money and financial gains and material possessions do not equate success, because you have a lot of wealthy people who are very unhappy, or who are very anxious, and who are very afraid, and oftentimes money is their shield. And it's not to say that you can't have money or wealth or abundance, but if your sense of self is rooted in that, you are pretty much a successful failure. And I just had to let you know today. So again, check your perspective. So first point was being conscious, being aware of how you see life and the lens you view life through, and the lens you view yourself through, being awakened to that, allowing light to come into your consciousness to set you on the right course, and then acknowledging your perception. Like culture and our family environments and tradition and all of these things are shaping our perception. You can have two people grow up in the same area and have two very different point of views based on what their home life is like, or the ideals that are being sown into them. So understand, perception is so important, and it is so vital for you to really, really tap into what your perception is. I wanted to move on to memory, and all of this is going to come together. So memory is basically like data. Your mind, your brain is storing all of these experiences, all of these, the things that you have been exposed to, things of that nature. Your memory is like a data center. It's a data center. It's holding on to all this information. And at some point, that memory kicks in when you are placed in certain situations. Just like from the sense of smell can take you back 10 to 20 years about being, with a certain family member, or being in school, or experiencing a vacation and things of that nature. Certain things that you see can trigger something in your mind to remind you of something, or to just bring you back to a space of, clarity, or again, a different moment that you've experienced in your life. Memory is good when you use it properly. Oftentimes, we get stuck in this constant loop of trauma, and it makes freedom from the event or the circumstance and situation truly, truly hard to obtain. So, a very vital step in understanding your reality and altering your reality is checking your memory bank and what you have in storage, checking the things that you are holding on to, the things that you are playing in your mind over and over and over again. Again, memory is a beautiful thing because it teaches you lessons and it shows you things. You can go back to good memories and things of that nature. But one of the major things that stops us from moving forward is because we're constantly remembering a past that we so desperately want to forget. Check your memory bank. Check what it is that you are storing on the inside of yourself. And the beautiful thing about memory is that you can create a new one. And that is a huge part in making your reality the one that you want to exist in. You can create new memories. Once again, your brain is like a sponge. It's like a computer. It really is the data center of the physical body. And you can rewrite that program. You can rewrite that program through exposure, through reading, through meditations, through certain things and spaces and places that you expose yourself to. You can truly rewrite your memory. So there is hope. The last point before we tie everything together is decision making. Decision making, we make decisions like every second of the day. I made a decision to come here. I made a decision to press play. I made a decision, to turn on the radio. I made a decision to how I got here. We are constantly making decisions, and I'm going to be 100% real with you. I have had the biggest challenge in decision making. At one point in my life, it was because I didn't have the confidence to make decisions on my own. I was super codependent on people around me. And then that shifted to me looking for signs and wonders and something jumping out of the sky to tell me the way in which I should go. I was always so dependent on a source outside of myself to make decisions, whether big or small. And the more I expand in my consciousness, the more I expand and I expose myself to different things and just honestly, not even different things, the more I get to know myself and the source that's flowing on the inside of me, the more confident I have become in making decisions. And I'm literally talking about everyday decisions. We make decisions every single day at every moment of the day. And again, this is a superpower that we have. And oftentimes it's tainted and perverted, and we make the wrong decisions instead of using that superpower for good. Understand this. You have the power to decide. Let's just breathe on that. You have the power to literally set a goal, make a choice, and pursue it. And although it sounds so simple, it can be really, really hard. And it's not that the process of deciding is hard. It's harder to make the decision and stay with that decision until you get to the other end, until you obtain the goal, until you reach your mark, until you get to the place in which you want to go to. But the beauty in it, once again, is that you have the power to decide. I want to tie everything together with our reality. If you had just tuned in, this is a Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. Today we are speaking about altering our reality, these alter realities. I started out the first half of the show speaking about how we all are experiencing a different form of reality. Nobody's reality is the same. The fact that I am 4'11" shifts my reality from that person who is 6'1". It just literally, there's a huge difference in how we see the world and how we see ourselves and how we see other people. So we have to understand that, number one, we are like this big universe interacting and co-working and cooperating within these multiple realities. We have to accept that truth. We have to accept that fact. It's not to say that one reality is better than the other. It's not to say that one is right, one is wrong. It's just understanding that we are all existing inside of this bubble, if you will. And the goal, I truly believe, of mankind is for all of us to just work together in our small realities, because together we make up this just unimaginable, beautiful wonderland, which I truly believe is where we live. And that is my reality. My reality is understanding that there is so much more than what we see with our natural eyes. My reality is that you can truly shift your life from whatever it is that you may have experienced. I have a true heart for those who deal with childhood trauma, because I am truly one of those people, and I truly live this stuff. I'm not only I'm not only the client, I'm the player president. I'm not only the host, I'm a member of LifeClub, just like you. And it's so important, so vital for me to share these truths with you so that you too can experience this amazingly wonderful life that I truly believe awaits each and every one of us every single day. We are speaking once again about alter realities and truly altering your reality. And I always say, even if it's a good one, it can always be better. So once more, I started out speaking about our consciousness, our perception, our memory, and decision making. And I really wanted to tie all of those things together. If you don't leave this conversation with anything else, if you don't leave this class, this course, this moment with anything else, I want you to leave with knowing this, that all things that are visible come from the invisible world. And just meditate on that. Let that be your 1 minute of meditation. Understand that everything that we see came out of the invisible realm. When you think about a baby, a child doesn't form and develop on the outside of a woman's body. A child is clothed in flesh, sealed, covered, and is developing month after month, day after day, minute after minute. And truth be told, when you get that sonogram, it's never really like what you see when that child comes out. And the sonogram itself, if you are an avid listener of LifeClub, you would have learned how the ultrasound works. Literally, there is sound that is emitted from the machine into a mother's womb, and it's a sound that cannot be heard to the natural ear. It is an ultra sound. It is higher, a supersonic situation going on. And that sound is emitted into the mother's womb. That sound then is bounced off of the baby's organs, and it reflects back an image. That's why your words and what you listen to and your media intake and even what you're reading is so important, so vital to your personal development and to altering your reality, because you hear it. Like, faith comes by hearing. Hearing our voice, the vibration alone of our voice creates things in the earth. And again, understanding that everything that is physical comes from what is spiritual. Anything that you can see comes from what you cannot see. Meditate on that. Allow that to permeate through your body, through your soul, and get to your understanding so that you can become awake, aka get that revelation. Let the truth be revealed to you. That is our consciousness. And then our perception, what it is that we see, our physical senses, how those things are manipulated and adjusted based on our natural experiences. If you touch a hot stove, you are burned, and then you know not to touch it anymore. Therefore, your perception of hot stoves and fire and all these other things that heat up is shifted to being mindful of that. Be careful of that. And the same is true for relationships. You might get in a really whack relationship one day, and you may experience some trauma in that relationship, and your perception of relationships is altered by that experience. how that experience shaped and molded your emotions in that space. And the beauty in all of these things is while there is a negative side, there's also a positive to that. If you listened again to how our emotions work, and when we talked about how we, batteries really helped us get in tune with the science of our emotions, understanding that for whatever reason, gravity exists not only in nature but in our personal lives. And there is always this negative force trying to pull you away from that which is positive. So recognizing that, recognizing how your perception is shaped by the sensory elements that we all embody as human beings, being aware of that, being conscious of that, puts you in the power seat to then shift how you perceive things. Memory, it's the data center of our existence. It's what stores all this information, and then eventually it allows us and helps us to make decisions. With all that being said, the missing link is again that spirit world, that revelation, that understanding that for me, believing is seeing. Understanding that shifts everything. It's a game changer. We are taught to believe that seeing is believing. It is not. I got to just let you know that right now. We're speaking about truth. We're speaking about transparency. We're speaking about revelation. When you are a child, you are living in your parents' or your caretaker's reality. When you grow up and you develop, you are then handed that mantle, handle that baton to shape and mold your own reality. And the only way to truly tap into your purpose and your true reality is connecting with spirit. I talked about in our 1 minute of meditation how we have to stay connected. You know that person who makes it and they leave the hood and they don't look back and they forget where they came from? Don't let that be you. And I'm not saying you can't change the zip code, but understand that you have to stay connected, not to the pain or to the hurt or to the shame or to the trauma or to the guilt, but understanding that transition that brought you from where you were to where you are and eventually to where you're heading. Staying connected to source energy is the glue that really keeps you on this constant climb to success. Remember, success is fulfilling your purpose. Success is joy. Success is truth. Success is happiness. Success is peace. Those are the elements that are truly successful. And those very elements manifest these natural rewards and these natural successes that we are able to enjoy with other people and the people that we love. Tying all of those things together is spirit. It is light. It is truth. It is honesty. It is the reality that you are co-creating with the creator of heaven and earth. It just feels so good saying that. Your reality is what you believe. And again, I can only speak from my personal experiences in hopes of enlightening you and encouraging you. I was a hot mess. And even though I checked all the boxes on the list externally, internally, I was a hot mess. There was so much chaos. There was so much confusion. There was so much low self-esteem, so much just a lot of misfortune going on the inside of me. And eventually those things began to bleed on the outside of me. I went through sickness. I went through a lot of hard times, a lot of moments where I felt like giving up and feeling like, okay, this is really not working. But fortunately, I recognized that as my break, and I allowed myself to sit down and to really speak forth what it is that I wanted to experience. And even in those moments where I didn't know what I wanted, I started with where I was. So oftentimes a lot of us, these are the things that we, if I have a lot of money, I'll be good. If I get this job, I'll be good. If I have a place to rest my head peacefully, I'll be okay. If I get the right major, if I get the right job, if I meet the right people, I'll be good. But what we have to really look for is sustainability. Can you sustain this job? Can you sustain this purpose? Can you stay in this space and truly be happy and truly elevate? And oftentimes it won't happen. When I graduated from undergrad a few moons ago, I literally got what some people may say the dream job, making a pretty decent amount of money for a 20-something-year-old just coming out of college. But I was so unhappy. But I took the job anyway, and I showed up early and left late from a job that I did not want. And that continued because, again, I think especially in a lot of cultures, we are taught to go to school, graduate, get a great job, get married, have 2.5 kids and a dog, and you live in the house with the white picket fence. And oftentimes that's just surface level. What is the foundation upon which you're going to build those things on? And if you have no foundation, you will sink. So I truly, truly, truly believe that the life that you dream of, the health that you desire, the joy, the peace, the excitement about waking up, and yes, going to sleep, because I enjoy going to sleep and I enjoy waking up every single day. When we get to that space in our lives of really allowing ourselves to be peaceful and to be still and to steady our minds. And I understand that that is a very hard thing for some of us to do, because the thoughts that cross our minds are like, what? Where did this come from? But when we allow ourselves to sit in that space of steadiness, and we allow ourselves to come to terms to not only the things that may have happened to us, but the things that we have partaken in to get us into the situation that we are in, we are able to take our very first breath of a new life. Because transparency is this idea of allowing light to come through an object. And a lot of us are clogged up with so many bad memories, so many bad experiences, so much stress and trauma, worry, depression, and anxiety that we don't even allow ourselves to get to that space. Again, I understand that sitting in silence can feel as if you are caving in. I get it. But when you sit still long enough, you will find peace. It's like the sonic boom. There's a jet or a plane that goes so fast, faster than the speed of sound, I believe, or light. Please don't quote me on that. Look it up yourself. But it goes so fast that it literally breaks the sound barrier. And you can even see a wave of, I don't even know what it is. It's just this wave of energy, if you will. And once the plane gets through that sound barrier, there's smooth sailing. Yes, there's a lot of turbulence on the way there. But when you continue to press forward, when you continue to do the work, when you continue to do the digging on the inside, you will come out and land on your feet and experience this bliss that I truly, truly am fortunate enough to experience every single day of my life. And it wasn't always like that. But when we get to this space of understanding, when we get to this space of revelation, when we get to this space of stillness, all of these things, these jewels, this wisdom, this love, this peace, this life is there waiting for us. So I just want to drill these things home to you. If you don't leave with anything from this conversation, from this class, from this show, leave understanding that that which is invisible manifests which is visible. The spirit realm gives birth to the natural realm, and your reality is not going to look like everybody else's reality. So don't feel stuck in this idea that because your mother went through one thing that you have to experience it, or because your father went through one thing that you have to experience it. No. Regardless of the community that you grow up in, regardless of the space that you find yourself in, you can genuinely and literally shift your atmosphere and shift your reality when you understand that that which is invisible manifests that which is visible. Just look at the objects that we use every day. The refrigerator, the car, the phone, the laptop, the pretty shoes and the handbags. All of those things were once an idea inside of someone else's mind and soul. And they looked at it long enough on the inside until it was manifested on the outside. You can truly live an amazingly wonderful life. Again, if that's the only thing that you take away from this episode of Life Club, I will be so very grateful and my job will be done. In addition to that, if you want another level, recognize the power of your consciousness. Being AKA woke is not knowing what's trending in the news. Please don't get it twisted. Being awake, being #woke is being internally and eternally tapped in to that energy that's on the inside of you. That energy that where you can go anywhere in any time zone and know that you are good, knowing that you're protected, knowing that you are provided for, knowing that you are enough. That is what being woke is. Tap into your consciousness and understand that consciousness expands over time. Start where you are. I feel like that is so important, so vital. Oftentimes we want to be this super saint and this super spiritual person that we miss the mark because we're reaching far beyond what we can actually believe is true. If you can't believe for $10, don't try to force yourself to believe for 10 million. I'm just saying. Take it one step at a time and spirit will meet you where you are. So start where you are. Tap into that internal being on the inside of you. And then your memories. Start to replace your memories. Start to create new memories. When something great happens in your life, meditate on that longer than you meditate on the traumatic experience that happened 10 years ago or 10 minutes ago. Start to gaze at the things that are good in your life and meditate on those things, even if it's for 12 seconds. You start at 12 seconds, you go to a minute, you go to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and eventually you will start to renew your mind. You will start to renew the memories that you have so that your data center can be filled with things that motivate you and encourage you and move you along. And last but not least, decide. There's this really cool video of Will Smith. You just got to look it up where he talks about you just have to decide. And again, I had an issue with making decisions and every now and then it comes up again, but I'm doing my best to press forward and to move through that. I have decided that indecisiveness can no longer have me. You have to decide. And decide every single day as often as possible to live your very best, very pure, very lovely, very abundant life. You have to decide that on the inside of you and hold on to it like a pit bull and his favorite toy. Like you have to hold on to that decision to live the life of your dreams, to let go of the past, to move forward to your future, to forgive, to love. Decide to be happy. And that only exists on the inside of you. Use your free will to do the will of spirit for your life, to fulfill the purpose in your life, and most importantly, to love a life because it is genuinely loving you. This felt so good. I am so grateful to be able to rock out with you guys each and every week in every installment of a Life Club with me, your home girl, Tashima Jones. You have been tuning in to Life Club with Tashima Jones. You can find me at tashimajones.com. All of my social media and contact information can be found there. Until next time, remember your greatness. Talk soon. I am Tashima Jones, and you've been listening to Life Club. Thank you for tuning in.